The people are very angry because they have been victims of flooding for all these years. And yet the discovery that all the billions of pesos that were supposed to help them, that were supposed to solve the problem, have ended up lining the pockets of all these corrupt politicians. No sacred cows, no allies, everyone who is involved.
The streets of Manila erupted as tens of thousands of Filipinos poured onto the capital's thoroughfares on September 21st. Their anger finally spilling over after revelations of what may be the Philippines' biggest corruption scandal in decades. Nearly 50,000 protesters gathered at Luneta Park in the morning, with thousands more joining demonstrations along EDSA Highway, the same stretch of road where Filipinos toppled a dictator 4 decades ago. The protests, dubbed the Trillion Peso March by organisers, were sparked by explosive revelations about a massive fraud involving flood control projects worth over 545 billion pesos. That's $9.5 billion, money that was supposed to protect poor, storm-prone communities across the nation.
The people are very angry because they have been victims of flooding for all these years. And flooding has made their lives so difficult. And yet the discovery that all the billions of pesos that were supposed to help them, that were supposed to solve the problem, have ended up lining the pockets of all these corrupt politicians, government officials, and contractors.
The scandal first came to light when President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. highlighted it during his State of the Nation address in July, calling the scale of corruption horrible. But it was the testimony of a wealthy construction couple that truly ignited public fury. Sarah and Pacifico Discaya, who run several construction firms, revealed during televised Senate hearings that they were forced to pay massive kickbacks, allegedly 25% of contract values, to secure projects. Their explosive testimony implicated 17 House of Representatives legislators and multiple public works officials. But what really drove Filipinos to the breaking point was the couple's brazen display of wealth during media interviews, showcasing dozens of European and American luxury cars, including a British vehicle worth 42 million pesos, about $737,000, they claimed to have bought because it came with a free umbrella.
I feel bad that we wallow in poverty and we lose our homes, our lives, and our future, while they rake in a big fortune from our taxes that pay for their luxury cars, foreign trips, and bigger corporate transactions.
The Department of Finance estimates the Philippine economy lost up to 118.5 billion pesos, or $2 billion, from 2023 to 2025 due to corruption in flood control projects alone. Environmental group Greenpeace suggests the actual figure could be closer to $18 billion. What makes this scandal particularly devastating is its human cost. The Philippines faces some of the world's most severe flooding, with poor communities regularly losing homes and lives to storms that the country's geography makes inevitable. The money stolen was meant to save these communities.
We are here to remind our people that during the anniversary of martial law was not just about authoritarian rule. Martial law enabled the plunder of our nation's wealth. Unfortunately, authoritarianism and plunder continue to plague our country. So we are here to demand action from the government. We are here to demand accountability against corrupt officials in the government.
While the vast majority of protests remained peaceful, violence did erupt near the presidential palace. Police arrested 17 people, many wearing black and face masks, who threw rocks and bottles at riot officers and set fire to trailer tires used as barricades. The incident prompted a security lockdown at Malacanang Palace, though it appeared unconnected to the main organised demonstrations. The revelations have sent shockwaves through the highest levels of Philippine government. In an unprecedented move, both Senate President Francis Escudero and House Speaker Martin Romualdez a cousin of President Marcos, resigned amid mounting pressure from the scandal. This represents one of the most significant political upheavals in recent Philippine history, with the leadership of both houses of Congress crumbling under public outrage. The scale of the alleged fraud is staggering. Investigators are examining 9,855 flood control projects that were supposed to have been undertaken since Marcos took office in mid-2022. Many of these projects were either substandard or never built at all, despite contracts being awarded and payments made.
We are calling on government to hold to account everyone who is involved in that corruption. No sacred cows, no allies, everyone who is involved.
Multiple investigations are now underway, with several public works engineers already dismissed and their assets frozen. Cardinal Pablo Vigilio David, head of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, threw the powerful church's weight behind calls for accountability.
Our purpose is not to destabilize, but to strengthen our democracy.
The timing of Sunday's protests was deeply symbolic, falling on the anniversary of the 1972 declaration of martial law by Marcos's late father. Organisers deliberately chose this date to underscore their demands for transparency and reform, though they stopped short of calling for the current president's resignation.
Corruption requires people to go to the streets and express their outrage in the hope of pressuring the government to do their jobs.
For many Filipinos, this scandal represents the latest chapter in a long history of public funds being looted by those in power. The Philippines has seen numerous corruption cases over the decades, but high-ranking politicians found guilty typically escape serious jail time. Mitzi Bajay, a 30-year-old designer who joined the EDSA demonstration, told AFP,
It's very rare for me to go to rallies, but this situation was bad enough that I was really urged to say, this is enough.
President Marcos has promised that no one will be spared from the investigation and suspended bidding for new flood control projects until the review is complete. His government has also established an independent commission headed by a former Supreme Court justice to conduct the probe.
They are draining the people's money while citizens suffer from floods, their homes being swept away, while officials ride private planes, live in mansions. The question now is whether this public outrage will finally force genuine accountability in a country where corruption has long seemed untouchable.
The UN Human Rights Office has warned that the deliberate misuse of disaster protection funds risks deepening poverty and inequality in one of Asia's most climate-exposed nations. Financial regulators have also responded, with the central bank tightening rules on large cash withdrawals to prevent money laundering of illicit funds.